Well, good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Jay, and I'm coming to you from Cornerstone Church. And we're here today to do our Tuesday Digging Deeper devotional. Over the course of the next few minutes, we are just going to dig deeper into our sermon subject from Sunday, which was from Acts chapter 18, verse 19, through Acts chapter 19, verse 7. And we are talking about the love, the word, and the Spirit. And we were talking about how Paul the Apostle had taken a vow to make a deeper commitment on his behalf towards the Lord. I want you to imagine with me, if you can, what that deeper commitment must have looked like for Paul the Apostle. For Paul the Apostle to actually come to the place where he feels the need to make a deeper commitment to the Lord than he has already made. And this is because of his the previous few years that he's spent as a pastor in Corinth, and also because of the things he sees coming. And we're talking about how we live in a place where the last few years have really changed us as a church. And as we cast our vision forward, we also see that things are getting more and more serious. And so we must make a deeper commitment to the Lord. And we've talked about three ways that we can deepen our commitment to the Lord: love, the Word, and the Spirit. Our commitment to God grows as we practice love, as we practice the Word, and as we practice walking in the Spirit. So let's start with this idea of love. Love is the foundation of everything in the kingdom. Paul the Apostle says in 1 Corinthians 13, "If I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains but didn't love others, I would be nothing. If I could give everything I have to the poor and even sacrifice my body, I would boast about it. But if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing." The Old Testament was based on the law. The New Testament is based on three things: faith, hope, and above all, the love of God for the people of the world. God so loves the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him would not perish but have everlasting life. The power of the gospel, the changing nature of the gospel that changes lives, relies at its foundation on the love of God for people. And so we must recognize that as God practices love towards us and his love comes into our lives, that love changes us so that we begin to love others. John the Revelator writes in his first epistle, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loves is born of God and knows God. He that does not love does not know God, for God is love." I'm going to say that again because we need to get that into our soul. Beloved, that's you and me, we're the beloved. Let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loves is born of God and knows God. But he that loves not does not know God, for God is love. We must recognize that if we are going to be the church, and if we are going to grow in our commitment and our knowledge of God, then we must practice this thing called love. What is this thing called love? Well, Paul defines it for us in 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but it rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up. Love never loses faith. Love is always hopeful, and love endures through every circumstance. So these are the things that love is. And we need to practice all of those things together. Now, I hope that you recognize that in and of yourself, you do not have the power to love the way that Jesus loves. It takes God to love God, and it certainly takes God to love us enough to love others. And so we need to recognize that we need to begin to seek God. I said on Sunday, the answer to growing in our commitment in all of these areas is to tarry before the Lord. It's why Paul made a vow before the Lord. A vow at its base is not just a promise, but it's a time of prayer. It's a time of sitting before the Lord, asking God to help you to fulfill a work that you know he would have you do. And so Paul the Apostle spent time in prayer. Paul the Apostle spent concerted time in prayer, focused time in prayer, asking God to strengthen his commitment to him. Paul is making this commitment, but Paul knows he doesn't have the power to fulfill this commitment unless God empowers him. And we must make our commitment to love God more and to love others more. And we must recognize that we don't have the power to fulfill that next level of commitment without God's help. So let us spend time seeking God for the help we need to love him more and to love one another more. Till we meet again, God bless you and be at peace.